to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Well, hopefully it's some better Jackets hockey, but still crappy nonetheless. But I'm very
Dude, I'm excited for the Jackets. Like, I'm really can't wait to see what Fantilli does. Like, I'm so, because I got to the point where I was like, Hawks aren't getting Bedard, so it's gonna be Fantilli. So I started following him last year, and I was like, yes, dude, this kid is gonna be good. Like, it's gonna be awesome.
we thought we were getting
Bedard.
Leo.
Yeah, and then we got Bedard. I was like, yes, and I was like, oh, but Fantilli.
Well, hey, preview season is wrapping up now. We are getting this close to real action, everybody. And Jay's out of commission again. He's still, having fun in Florida. So it's just me and Jarom of WCB.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm ready for this. Are you?
I am so ready.
I'm scratching the itch.
The longest. I feel like it every year, but it's the longest off season, and my team's got nothing to play for. My team is just clearly one player, and you guys.
No, it's two. It's two.
It is two. Yeah, there is two. There's a couple good guys, and I'm really excited to kind of see
Nick Foligno. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Take care of our boy.
Nick Foligno, dude. He is already just listening to him in training camp, media scrums, and then the last game, him laughing in the face of I forgot who it was on the Wild, but just taunting him and saying, he goes, no, there's a language barrier there, so I had to make sure he knew that he was a joke. It was just that guy's gonna be awesome. I mean, you're
gonna love him. We love him, and he's gonna be a really nice mentor for a guy that we're gonna get to in a second. But yeah, we're here to wrap up things with the Central. Going back out west for preview season. It's just me and Jarom, and who knows what the vibe of this one's gonna be. The first one with Jason was very fun, very funny. He was a very funny guy. For the Pacific, he was awesome. And then when we had Matt on for the Atlantic, it was very knowledgeable. We dragged things out a little long because we just had so much information to talk about with the Atlantic. It was one of the, more interesting divisions. And then when it was just me and Lance for the Metro, obviously we know that division in depth. It's our division. So we went more in depth with it, but at the same time, it was just really nice and chill. Lance's presence was very
relaxing,
very down there, and I loved it. And then we had fantasy, and that was fun. The fantasy draft that we just had for THPN was very cool.
You guys have 20 people in that league, don't you?
20 person league. The draft took 2 hours.
Holy crap.
A few of us got on to a little call. It was me, and I'm gonna shout out all our people here: Kyle, Kat, and Zach from I think they're Caniac Sessions. They're the Sessions, and then Lance was there as well. So we had a fun little call during the draft.
That's awesome. Yeah, fantasy hockey's the best. It really is.
Fantasy, it's funny with fantasy, and we're gonna get actually into the Central in a second, just because we're just chit chatting now. I always forget just how big the NHL's pool of players actually is until I play fantasy, because so many good players get taken late, and you're like, wait a minute.
And especially too, with you guys doing 20 teams in there, I mean, that you really have to get creative and stretch the roster a little bit.
Well, especially for someone like me who ended up drafting 20 out of 20.
Oh,
sure I got back-to-back picks, but it was I had to queue players and be please still be there.
I don't bother with the queue because every time, the second I put something in the queue, the next pick takes them. So I just give up. I don't even try. I wait to see what's there.
I got a pretty decent team, but I'm also up against Kyle for week 1, who drafted second.
Oh, yeah, a little bit of advantage there.
And Connor McDavid didn't even get taken first.
Really?
Shout outs to Jordan. She went off the board and took Leon, which not really off the board, but Draisaitl going first is interesting.
Interesting. I did a fantasy draft last night with people from some of the writers of hockeybuzz.com,
Mm-hmm.
and I somehow got the first overall pick, and I'm like, okay, cool, finally get McDavid.
Right.
And he was averaging in Yahoo. I'm not sure what you guys use, but in Yahoo,
We're ESPN, which is
yeah,
a little bit of a better system.
he was averaging first pick. Like everybody else is like 1.2, 2, whatever. It was just one McDavid. There was no questions asked.
Yeah. But yeah, Dry went first, and then McDavid, and then Pedersen was top 3.
Interesting.
Pretty off the board pick there, but I'll take it. That was cool. I still ended up getting Mitchy Marner. I'm excited about that. Mitchy's my guy.
That's good. That's a good pickup right there.
But yeah, so before we actually get into like this is, we've been doing it like this with the giving our 1 to 8 and then going from bottom to top, going through and talking about every team. But I always wanted to start these off with, you're with WCB. That's your show. How do you guys do it? How do you guys run the show? We know you're on YouTube because we see you all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, it's been awesome. We've been doing the show we're in year 6 now.
Gosh, we're only going into year 3. It's like,
I say 6 with a parenthesis. There's been some time where we stopped for a little bit just because, life happens and all that.
right.
There's 2 to 3 of us depending on what's going on. We have 3 members. One's actually had to step away. So he's getting his master's right now. So he's got to focus on that a little bit. But yeah, we record at least once a week. Try to get some guests, and we've had a lot of players from the Stanley Cup era for the Hawks. We've had Jeremy Roenick, Ed Belfour.
That's cool. That's really cool to get like nice alumni like that.
Dude, it's been awesome. Still trying to get Chelios. That's one of our white whales. Amonte's my big white whale there. God, if I get Amonte, I'm like, we might be done with the show. I'm like, there's nothing else I can do.
This is the finale. You guys just had Cargo on recently, didn't you?
Yeah. Carcillo was on and that was an amazing conversation. He was talking about his journey into using psychedelic, like mushrooms and alternative medicine to try to help cure his like head trauma from all the concussions and playing. And I wasn't expecting what we got. Like he went in there and it was like I was in a college science lecture hall. Him sitting there talking about like all the ins and outs of this stuff and all the research and stuff like this. And it's really amazing. And I hope he continues to do what he's doing because I think he can help a lot of people with this medication and his programs.
It's definitely interesting talking about the concussion side of things, but like, yeah, do you guys do what we do with like Zoom and put it up on YouTube?
Yeah, we do Zoom. Easiest way to do it. Zoom, cut it up, make some nice little clips. And how you doing? We're going and doing some we're gonna be doing some live streams this year too with the season and all that.
Well, yeah, I hope we're able to do some watch alongs and things this year.
Yeah, really trying to bump up the content with this year. The year.
Oh yeah,
the year of Bedard. We got to go all out. We got to make sure people know that Connor Bedard is a Chicago Blackhawk.
I think that's pretty well established at this point.
Still, it is still crazy to think that.
It's I mean, we could talk about it when we talk about your guys.
Yeah, for sure.
A bit, but yeah, 1 to 8, go for it.
All right, so I'm actually going 1 to 8. I'm gonna go Dallas, Colorado.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Dallas, Colorado. I think Minnesota will finish up the top 3.
Okay.
I think Winnipeg is going to stick around 4. I'm still not sold if they're going to be a wildcard team. If there's going to be any wildcard teams out of the Central, I think it's going to be a close battle there. And then I think it's pretty much going to be the same standing as last year. Nashville 5, St. Louis 6, Arizona 7, and the Blackhawks 8. I do think Arizona could push St. Louis possibly down to 7. I think Arizona is a team that doesn't get enough credit.
No, they have plenty of players, and Arizona is all about more so their off ice stuff right now.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, they kind of lose focus on what's the product they're putting together. I mean, they're a team that usually typically is taking on contracts to help bail teams out, and they kind of made some moves to
But
kind
they
of
still
actually
have players. Like they have good players.
exactly.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Um, they're one of our favorite teams to talk about, funnily enough, because of so much with the off ice stuff. We love talking
Exactly.
about the Coyotes. We always say we're a Blue Jackets podcast about the Canucks and the Coyotes.
I like it, dude. Kachina, man, the second they brought back the Kachina jerseys, I'm like, of course
We're
they got
sold.
them. Yeah, we're sold. We got them back. I love it. I mean, I got mine hanging up behind me. And
Nice,
then
I see it.
yeah, and then the second they bring them back, it's like, okay, well, now we might be moving because we can't get an arena deal done.
Well, we'll get it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
My 1 to 8. I still think Colorado takes the division. 2 and 3, Minnesota, and then Dallas.
Okay.
I agree with you, Winnipeg fourth, because just like they're still really, really good, and yet, it's just like where else can they really finish unless they do kind of slip a little bit.
Right.
I have St. Louis fifth, Nashville sixth, Arizona seventh, Chicago eighth.
Yeah. It's Central's an interesting division because I feel it's like it's got some really good teams, it's got some really bad teams,
You have
and
haves and have-nots.
exactly, and not too many teams did anything this offseason to really improve or get worse. It's
Yeah,
just
there really
very
wasn't a lot of needle pushing, right?
yeah, it was very even keel. So that's why it's like if the standings finish the exact same as they did last year, I wouldn't be surprised. But if they finish completely upside down, I mean, it's also I wouldn't be surprised. It's such an open division, especially in that top half of teams. I mean, even Nashville, who knows what they are. I
Well,
mean,
now that they're in their Barry Trotz era again.
exactly. Yeah. So it's like the
we'll
only
talk,
yeah, go ahead.
we'll get to Barry as GM and like later, but you know, yeah, we're gonna start with your boys, unfortunately and kind of fortunately,
Yeah. Hey.
because it's like this is the team you know the most, and knowing that we both have them 8, and we're going in reverse order. I mean, we know what they're doing.
Exactly. It's no secret.
It's no secret that this is still a rebuilding team, and you're building around Connor Bedard, which let's talk about that lottery for a minute. Everyone, this is very similar to the 2020 lottery when the Rangers won it and the Wings finished dead last.
Yeah.
And, it was just like everybody was up in arms because the Wings should have won it because of just how bad they were. And everybody was thinking, the Ducks should have won the first pick because of just how bad they were. Or like we were in the running for that, unfortunately, with only 59 points.
And the Hawks were at 59 points too. I mean, it was 59, 59, 58. So it's like it's not that big of a stretch. Like it's not like it was
but it's a
the
lottery.
Ducks.
It's not a luck.
Exactly. And it's not like the year Colorado was like 45 points and then the next team was 65 or whatever.
Right.
And it's like then it's like, okay, Colorado doesn't win. Let's see what's going on there. But I mean, it was a close battle. I mean, even San Jose was right there too with 60 points.
Right.
I mean, and that's just in the reality of the thing is, and I would feel the same way if the Hawks were dead last and somebody else won. The reality is it's a lottery system. It's how it's set up. They had numerous officials in the room and hockey reporters to just show that there's no funny business going on.
I
And
mean, it
it's
is
like,
very like strange, like, oh, the original 6 team gets the newest generational
right.
talent.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I totally understand. I totally understand what's coming
And
from
especially with like we can't the elephant in the room with you guys, and I hate to keep cutting you off like this.
no.
But the elephant in the room with you guys is and I'm going to preface this with a trigger warning, the Kyle Beach stuff.
Right.
With the way that the organization, with the way that Rocky and Danny and Stan Bowman and Quenville, the way that everybody handled that for the last decade.
Yeah, let me just say one thing though. Danny Wirtz had nothing to do with that. He was not even a part of the organization when that was going on. So I'll give him a little bit. What he knew after the fact when he came in, it's all hearsay. Who knows what he knew exactly, kind of thing. Because I, to this day, don't believe Rocky Wirtz when he said he had no idea about it. You're not the
No,
owner of a team, and for 10 years, this major thing happens. There's
and you
no
have
way.
zero clue.
Yeah, that I don't believe. I mean, not speaking ill of the dead and all that kind of stuff, but it's like, come on, dude, we're not stupid. You knew
No, and we're gonna
something.
run it back with the town hall really quick because that was
Yeah,
awful. That was
that
such a bad showing from Rocky.
for something that you called. He called that to discuss what this team is going to do to prevent situations like this, and then gets angry when he gets asked a question about what the team is doing to prevent this.
The fact that
what?
Danny had to shut him up.
Yeah, that's when I was like, this dude needs to just, if he wants to be owner, cool, be owner name only. He needs to disappear from the cameras. If he wants to walk around the United Center, shake hands, kiss babies, all that, fine, awesome. But do not speak to the media. Do not have any say in what's going on with this organization going forward.
This is why I'm happy that, aside from what we had with us going on with the Mike Babcock stuff this summer, this is why I'm happy that the McConnells are very hands off.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm very curious to see what's going to go forward with Danny Wirtz now being in sole control of this, and he has said all the right things. He has done the right stuff going forward and all that. Now, is he going to stick to his plan? Is he eventually going to turn into his dad and go down the same road? I don't know.
I don't know.
But right as of the present time right now, I think he's doing the right things. He's put some great people in the position that they need to be. He's really building this up and making sure that something horrible like that never happens again.
Yes.
You just have to hope for the best,
Kyle Davidson, new plan.
Yes.
We know what the plan now is, and it's, well, to suck.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, he still brought in good players. He brought in nice leadership for a guy like a Connor Bedard and a Lucas Reichel. And can't forget about Lucas, because this kid is also going to be dynamite.
He's going to have a huge year. I mean, Bedard being on this team is the best thing that could happen for him. It really is. Because now all the focus is going to be off of him. It's going to be on Bedard, and he is going to have plenty of time against not top line units and all that kind of and all that. And
first game against Sidney Crosby is going to be fun.
Oh, it is going to be so much fun. Sidney Crosby or Carlson, and I really hope it's Bedard just really pulls a little Austin Matthews and announces he is in the league. Let's go.
But yeah, let's actually break down some of your guys. Like,
yeah,
despite not making a lot of moves, they still have NHL talent on this roster, more or less. It's just who does Bedard play with? That's the biggest question. Probably Lucas, and I don't know, Athanasiou. Like, Athanasiou staying is kind of nice.
Yeah, I do like him. He's very much I don't know if you've watched Mighty Ducks before, but he's the Luis Mendoza of the NHL. He is so fast, but he's almost too fast for his own good. I don't know how many games he will outstick handle himself and outdangle himself. But yeah, right now it's looking like the season's going to start off with Bedard, Taylor Hall, and Ryan Donato on that top line.
Donato, I forgot that you guys got him from Seattle.
Yeah, 2 year. I believe it's 2 year, $2 million per. He's been a nice little piece. He's a big guy. I mean, if you look at that depth chart right there, Bedard 5'10", then Taylor Hall 6'1", and Donato 6 foot. So it's clear what they're doing. Yeah, it's clear what they're doing. They're putting some big boys to help protect Bedard. Taylor Hall, I think, is going to be a great line mate for him because
he will.
Former first overall pick himself. He kind of has gone through the same situation coming into a really bad team and kind of seen as the guy, so he can really mentor Hall or Bedard and kind of show him the ins and outs of how to do it. I think it's
former Hart winner.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not the biggest Hall fan. I've only said he's only one season. which was his heart year. But I mean, I think he'll be a good piece for Bedard on that top line.
The depth is interesting at forward.
Yeah.
It's very like most people don't really know or care who a lot of these people are. They bring in a guy like Joey Anderson, nice speedy kid. I like Colin Blackwell.
Yeah.
That's a nice pickup. Dickinson in a trade with Vancouver, pretty all right.
He's a great penalty kill guy. Big on the PK, which is awesome.
I wonder if Mackenzie Entwistle gets more time this year.
I hope not.
He's a kid that has some, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not.
There's
a
a lot
fan
of question
him.
marks with the forwards.
Yeah,
but you do have my boy Nicky Fliggs. We love Fliggy in
yeah,
Columbus. We
him
loved him in Boston. He's going to be a great mentor to Connor.
100%. He's the leadership, proven leader.
Former
And you got
captain.
former captain. Yeah, I mean, I was surprised listening to him in day one of training camp. Him talking to the media. I was like, I know he said no C this year, but maybe just give him a temporary C because he's saying all the right
They're
things.
saving it for Bedard, right? They're
Right,
they're marinating
100%.
that C for when
Yeah,
he's ready.
and they're doing it, and it's a respect thing for Taze. I think they want whoever's going to be the C
Yeah.
next. They don't want it to be
Yeah, with
like,
Kane and Taves gone,
yeah,
this is an interesting new era
it's
because
definitely interesting.
we don't know if Taves is eventually going to play somewhere else this year.
Yeah. Well, he's out this year. He said he's out this year.
Oh, is he out for the year? Okay.
Yeah,
So
he's
he
gonna
just said he's not going to
focus.
play.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
it's Patty Kane that I'm thinking of, where it's just like
Yeah.
he's just out
Exactly.
there.
He's out there. They said around American Thanksgiving was the target time to come back. But he
But
posted
he needs a
video.
contract.
Exactly. He posted a video of him on the ice, and he's looking good. I think a lot of I don't know, teams, fan bases maybe have counted him out and kind of said he's washed and all that kind of stuff. But he's been dealing with an injury for the past couple years, and now that he's going to be 100%, do I think he's going to be his Art Ross caliber again, 100+ points? No, but he's still going to be a big piece for whoever picks him up.
He wasn't that great everywhere. He wasn't that great in New York at all.
No,
No.
and it's that hip injury he had to have, like,
And the hip is hard.
Yeah,
Like,
it was a major
say what you
thing,
will.
yeah.
He's not a good person. Patrick Kane is not the best person.
He's grown up a lot. I will definitely agree with you on that. I've had personal experiences with him, and I've heard personal stories with him. And yes, he's matured a lot.
But he's a hell of a hockey player.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even
100%.
for 34, 35. He still can do things that scream Showtime. But now it's the Bedard. It's the Bedard and Eichel era.
Yes.
Or Reichel. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Eichel. I got Vegas on the brain still.
Yeah.
But like you guys still have like Tyler Johnson, his contract kind of floating in there. Reese Johnson as well. Boris Kachuk. I'm excited to see what Boris and Taylor can do since coming over in the Hagel deal.
Yeah, I love Taylor Radish. I think he was a great, like, I was very upset we lost Hagel. I mean, I was a big fan of Hagel, but getting the 2 first-round picks and then getting Taylor Radish, who essentially is Hagel, the same style of player, it's been awesome. Boris Kachuk, I always laugh, like, I still don't think that's a real person. I mean, I've never actually seen him play. He only plays games I'm not able to tune into, which is so funny. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting too with those two guys. I mean, it's just so much damper going on because they were both part of that Team Canada World Junior team that is under investigation, and it's like, who knows if their name's gonna be part of that too. So it's like it's a lot of question marks.
Yeah, and the other two rounding out your guys' forwards really quick. And by the way, I've been a big Radish fan because both of those guys played in Erie. With Connor and Kat and all of those guys when we started following the Erie Otters with our buddy Mark. Big Radish guy over here. The other two guys to round out your forwards that really, need talking about a little bit. Kurashev. Going to be nice to see what Kurashev can do.
Yeah, hopefully he's going to see a bigger role now. He's one of those guys that role got jumped up at the trade deadline last year when all the quote unquote big pieces were moved. it's so funny because I feel like he's been around forever, but I think he's still only 23, 24 years
Right.
old.
Yeah.
And I think he's got potential. I think he could be a part of this team going forward. I mean, the way I look at it, unless your
see it.
name's Connor Bedard and Lucas Reichel, you at this moment are just written in pencil for the future of this team.
Right.
And it's like you need to kind of prove yourself. And I think he's got one of the best chances to be more permanent on this team if he can just finally put it all together. He's got the worst luck. Like he could put himself in the position to score and do some crazy things. He just hits the post or the puck bounces over his blade, or it's just one of the worst puck lucks I've seen in a while
Wow.
for a player.
And then the other guy, which really quick, poor Sam Savoy being out for as long as he's going to be out.
Yeah.
But the other big free agent, or at least trade, Corey Perry. What a weird downfall for Corey Perry.
It is so weird to see him in the Indian head sweater. After all the battles back in 2015, was it 2015 or 2013? Stanley
One
Cup
of those
playoffs. Yeah, it was one of those in the conference finals against Anaheim, and just the battles. And he is the definition of you hate him off your team, but you love him when he's on your team.
Yes.
He's just that guy.
He's annoying as all hell.
Oh God, yeah.
He's like, he will irritate the hell out of anybody. And his skill, but when he first won the cup in 2007, his only cup,
Yeah.
he had all the skill in the world to him, and now he really doesn't have that at all anymore.
No, he's definitely turned into a role player. He's a guy that he knows what it takes to win, and he's
and
kind of
chasing the bag.
Yeah.
You go from so many years, you win the cup with the Lightning, right? Didn't you? Or
no, he didn't. No, so he was
no,
always.
I'm thinking like
yeah,
because he was on every cup finalist for like
3 years.
3-4 straight years.
Yeah, and he kept losing it.
And now he's finally just kind of resigned himself.
Yeah, I mean, I half wonder if he's got some sort of agreement with Kyle Davison come trade deadline. If there's a situation that a team can use him that's going to be contending, that they'll flip him, they'll eat $2 million of his contract to make it easier. Same thing with Foligno. I think the same thing. I think those guys kind of have handshake agreements where help us out, mentor a little bit going forward, and then come trade deadline,
push comes to shove,
we can put you in a situation. On. Yeah, exactly.
That would be nice. That's probably preferable.
Yeah.
Right. At least for those two, because it's only both of them on 1-year deals, right?
1 year, $4 million.
Right.
So
it's a lot of money, Fliggy.
Yeah, you got to get to the cap floor, so you got to
cap floor.
Do it.
Defense. Your top four is iffy at best.
Our defense is in a very interesting situation
because Seth is such an I love Seth Jones.
Yeah, I love Seth Jones.
He's great here. Awful contract.
Oh God, yeah. I've said this forever. We wanted Seth Jones when the rumor came out that he was going to be traded. I was like, give us Seth Jones. Put him in our lats. We'll take him. It's the contract I hate. And it was Stan Bowman's last FU to the organization. I feel like going out gives him this ridiculous contract. I'm very one of the few, but I still think he's a great defenseman. And
he's fine.
The reason his number and people are like, oh, his plus minus and all this. It's like, well, yeah, your plus minus would be garbage too if you don't have a team around you and you're playing almost 30 minutes a game. You're out there.
So it's like it's Jones, it's Columbus boy Connor Murphy, AAA product to ours.
Yeah.
And then it's Korchinski and Zaitsev.
So it's gonna be there's 3 to 4 spots. I think it's gonna be a revolving door all season. I think Jared Tenorti is gonna be playing. Yeah, I think he's gonna be playing a decent amount on that third pairing. I think Zaitsev will be, when he does play, he's just a third pairing. It's just gonna be because they need
good luck with Zait
out there. Yeah. That was a purely let's get a draft pick and eat some cap for it. Korchinski is
I've got high hopes
Korch-
for Korchinski.
he's the future of this defense, in my opinion. I think he has got great potential. I'm torn right now with him playing this year with the Hawks. I go back and forth because he's 19 years old. Usually defensemen don't really peak and develop well until they're about 21, 22. He is such a big fish in juniors that it's like, is that going to be worth it for him to go back there? But then do we want to keep him on in the press box and not playing every night and essentially just watching hockey with the Hawks? It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I wish there wasn't that rule where certain players, if you're playing juniors, you can't go down to the AHL. I wish that wasn't a thing.
He's also a smaller guy, 6'1", $185, smaller for a defenseman.
Yeah, I mean, he still needs to put on some muscle and some weight, especially playing defense. Vlasic is a good example of what
6'6", $199. This kid.
Yeah, he was a very tall but really skinny kid. He had a couple.
Is he related to Marc Edouard by any chance?
I believe that's his uncle.
Okay, I was just curious. Like,
yeah, I believe there is a relation. I'm not 100% sure on what the relationship is, but I know I want to say it's his uncle.
But yeah, this defense porous.
Yeah,
very porous, very bad. Swiss cheese.
Yeah, you're going to see Vlasic get a lot of time. Kaiser's going to get a lot of time. Korchinski, if he sticks up, will get a lot of time. Then you're also going to see Nolan Allen making the trip from Rockford a lot. Ethan Del Mastro will make the trip a lot.
I was going to say, we don't know a lot about your guys' depth system. We're an Eastern team. We don't.
Yeah, no, yeah. There's a lot of, like, the Hawks defensive prospects it's huge. It's a lot of good players that have a lot of high end potential. It's just managing and getting them the opportunity to play and really develop. That's the whole thing.
And then really quick in net, Mrazek, Soderblom, Stauber. Revolving door.
Just revolving door.
Revolving door. Peter is going to be hurt.
Yes, he's going to be hurt. He's going to hurt his groin at some point. So you're going to need to
He's never going to stay in his net.
Exactly.
He doesn't even know where his posts are. He's Peter Mrazek.
100%. So
I love Peter Mrazek, but it's so funny how this guy just doesn't
can't figure it out.
He just doesn't stay.
You just cannot figure it out.
This is a guy that's been around. Like, man, I don't know. He's over 30.
I'm hoping he does something decent because he does need a contract. I mean, he's on his last year of his deal, so it's like if he wants to stick around the NHL, he's got to be somewhat decent. And I mean, he did have moments last year. He looked really well, and you just felt bad for him because the team in front of him just couldn't get the puck in the net. So I was like, he was standing on his
fine.
head.
He shows good promise. And
Soderblom, yeah, he is a decent prospect.
I think it's going to be a fight between him and Stauber for more of the future starter label.
So the future starter label actually is going to go to Drew Commesso.
That's right, Comesso's.
Yeah. He's making the jump from college from Boston and he's got assigned to Rockford.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be playing the 1A position there. And getting a lot of time. And when Mrazek goes down, I said Stahlberg's got to be the guy coming up and just let Drew Commesso just take the reins in Rockford. But
yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's goaltending's always been an issue in Chicago. Never really had it all that, so it's weird
because like the only stability that I really remember in recent memory is Crow.
Right.
And ever since Crow left, what do you do?
Exactly. Yeah, there was no focus on developing goalies. The Bowman era and management team just for some reason thought goalies didn't matter, and just if you put a good team in front of them, you put anybody in that. And the problem is he didn't put a good team in front of him. So here's that's where you're at now.
Love me some Corey Crawford. Gosh, he's such. I would have loved to have met the guy. Like, you know what I mean?
I hear he's a weird, interesting dude.
Very interesting. I like how you said weird, and then you're like, oh.
Well, goalies are weird. If you don't,
goalies are voodoo.
Goalies are very strange people. But yeah, he's a very interesting dude.
Believe me, my favorite player ever is a goalie. and I love him to death.
Who's that?
Bob,
Yeah.
big Bob guy, big Bobrovsky guy.
Bobrovsky. I love that guy.
Love him so much. We're going to the desert.
Yes.
The Arizona Coyotes, who could be the Utah Coyotes at some point, the Houston Coyotes, the Albuquerque Coyotes. We don't freaking know.
I don't understand the push to keep this team. I mean, clearly the state does. Nobody wants them. It's
okay. I want this team to stay.
I do too. I want to know what Bettman's got that he's just. It's like
I
a proof
want
of
them to
points.
stay to spite Gary.
That's fair.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're such a pet project of his.
Yeah.
That it's like, it's that you ever have sea monkeys growing up?
No.
You grow it like sea monkeys. You just like, you feed them for a couple of days and then you forget you even have them, and then they die within like a week. It's like, it's such a weird fad, the sea monkeys, that I feel like this is Gary's sea monkey.
That's
He's just trying to keep alive.
Yeah. Just every once in a while forgets they're there. Yeah, I totally. I don't know if he forgets they're there. I'm sure he hears about it all the time about you got to figure out the stadium. But honestly, I think Mullet might be the best thing that happened for them for a little bit.
For a bit, because I know since the Tempe deal fell, everybody's talking about, everybody wants to leave, nobody wants to be there. Keller, Schmaltz. You have a core of guys that want to be there. Cooley actually signed, and I'm very excited for for Connor versus Cooley versus Adam. This is going to be a wild Calder race.
This is going to be the best Calder race, I think, in years. Like, I mean, and then you could even throw, was it Levi or Levy from Buffalo,
Devin
the goalie?
Levi, yes.
Yeah, you can even
Devin
toss
Levi.
him in the conversation too. Oh my, like, God, this Calder race is going to be awesome.
It's going to be so crazy. But yeah, I want to, like, Clayton Keller is your face of the team.
100%. Yeah.
And
God, 86 points in 82 games on a very bad team. That's amazing.
On a terrible Coyotes team that finished higher last year than anybody thought they would.
Oh yeah. I mean, they had their moments. Like, they went on a little bit of run middle of the season that they picked up some.
They had some barn burners, man. Like,
yeah,
there was that game where they were scored. There was like a stretch of, I don't know, 4 games where they just scored all the goals.
Yeah,
and it was like, can you save some goals for everybody else? There was like a 9-8 game. There was
a couple of points, and I was like, wild card?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, wild card? Is it crazy? Are we getting crazy here? But yeah, I mean, they've made, I mean, we talked about it before, but I mean, they've added some good names to it. I mean,
they have
Logan
some
Cooley,
good depth pieces too.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Logan Cooley. God, that move in Australia. What a first impression, this kid.
I don't even it blows my mind. I grew up playing hockey for as long as I can remember.
I wish I could have played. Medical stuff prevented me. I couldn't do contact stuff.
I played over 20 years and never once did I even imagine coming up with something like that to try to do.
If you want to go watch it, like, just go watch highlights from Kings and Coyotes in Australia. It's everywhere. This kid spins and backhands.
Yeah.
Like,
it was almost like, it's not the same thing, but it was like very similar to the same vibes, and feel like, holy crap, like when Ovechkin scored his goal against the Coyotes
when he fell down.
It was like the same, like you can't do that. Like,
no,
that can't be, that's not allowed. You can't do that. That's not fair.
You're not human.
Yeah, like, holy crap. Like, yeah, it's gonna be fun. And the fact that he's only 19,
yeah.
Man,
they got a nice young core with Keller and Cooley and Hayton. This needs to be a breakout year for Barrett Hayton.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's got to be primed to do it at the top center spot. I think he's projected right now. So
Liam O'Brien, Jack McBain, Matthias Michelli, lots of youth, lots of good youth.
he came out of nowhere last year too, and he was
Love
like a
Michelli.
sneaky. Yeah, he was a sneaky for the Calder as well. Um,
and
64 games.
Gunther.
Yeah,
Oh my God, Dylan Gunther.
Dylan Gunther. Yeah, they're finally bringing in all these pieces that they've been being bad to draft. It's been great.
It's nice to see them all get ushered in at the same time too. Um, and then they have guys, that can lead them and build around them, like Bugstad, Travis Boyd, Lawson Krause is still there.
Jason Zucker they brought in this year too.
Zuck and Kerfoot. I like those moves. And Schmaltzy. God, Nick
Schmaltzy.
Schmaltz.
I wish he was still in Chicago, man. I like Schmaltzy. It was a good hard nosed player out there.
I like
but
that Travis Boyd found a home in the desert too. Like that's
Yeah.
like sticking around with a guy like Travis Boyd. Like it's nice when
Yeah,
a
good.
player like that can find a home.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's not your traditional market and it's probably not ideal, but it's like at the same time, it's like you get to still play professional hockey and you get amazing weather all
It's
year
nice when
round.
you can actually pick Coyotes for fantasy too, because they'll actually still produce.
Exactly. Yeah.
I ended up getting McBain, and I think I got Michelli too. So I'm excited to see what those kids do.
Yeah. I think I picked up Keller this year. So hopefully,
Um,
fingers crossed he repeats.
yeah, so they've got really nice young forwards. They're going to be really fun to watch. Their defense, I like that Sean Jersey signed
Yeah. That was a big, I was very surprised that
because they
LA
had no
got rid of him.
defensemen.
Yeah. None.
Nothing.
I still don't understand what LA was doing moving him, but hey, their loss.
Because like the only ones that I could ever think of in recent memory is like, okay, so they had JJ Moser, and I like the kid. He's fine. But like some of these guys, I could barely even name any that really stayed. Like Valimaki, maybe.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I mean, Dumba signing there is big.
Dumba signing there is nice.
Yeah,
Um,
for
bring
very
it.
cheap.
Josh Brown, good like eighth defenseman.
Yeah,
Um,
Troy Stretcher,
Stetcher's gonna be
Stetcher.
nice.
Yeah,
I like Dermott. I love Travis Dermott. Another one of my otters. Um, it's a shame though because I thought Dermy was gonna stick around in Vancouver. And
yeah, it's another
like,
team. I don't know what they're doing.
we talked about Vancouver a lot with Jason.
Yeah,
But like you got pieces, you got good individual defensemen. It's
yeah,
just
they developing right. It's the kind of thing. It's like you got to see them on ice and see what they do and really what you have. I think
how do they
once
gel as a core?
exactly. Yeah, it's kind of hard to really go off of just looking at names until like you got to see them in action and it's like
I mean, is it like Moser Jersey? Is that your top pair? And then like friggin' and then Dermott Stetcher? I don't know. The top four, like you can mix and match a lot of that. That's up to
I think at Dumbo though top four for sure.
yeah. I mean, it's all up to Turney.
Yeah.
Andre
Yeah,
Turney, very underrated as a coach, getting the most that he can out of these guys.
yeah, it's a new era. These new era coaches. I mean, Hots with Luke Richardson, Arizona. I mean,
We'll see what we do with Pazzi.
Yeah, you're seeing the changing of the guards, which I think is long overdue.
Well, we talked about this. I talked about it with Lance, and I think we talked about it with Matt too. When you look at the coaches around the league, there's like 20 or 25 out of the 32 teams that either have first year coaches or are going into their second year.
Yeah.
A lot of turnover, a lot of fresh blood.
You know what? It's good because the as great as some of the older coaches are, it's a new game. I mean, you can't play the same way.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm so glad you guys like when I heard Babcock going to Columbus, I was like, what are you doing? So I mean,
again,
it sucks the way
we have a whole episode detailing.
It
all
sucks
of
the way
that
it
stuff.
went down, but I'm glad that they woke up and they were able to get rid of him before a lot of damage was done. on the ice product.
on the ice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in net for the Coyotes, you got Karel Vejmelka and Connor Ingram. It's the veggie show again.
Yeah,
And I think
he's
Ingram can
great.
push for some stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's weird because these two are the only two that they have listed on the site. But like, Veggie came out of nowhere and he can steal you a lot of games.
Oh yeah. He's the real deal. I like him a lot. I'll be very curious to see if he sticks around much longer. Because I know there was talks about even last year that some teams that were goalie tight needed
Mhm.
to we were talking about possibly him being an option. So I'd be very
Yeah.
curious to see what happens there. But I mean, if the Coyotes are serious about making that turn into to start being more competitive, it's like you have to keep him, I think, and you maybe do a rotating on that
And
backup.
Connor Ingram too. He's a nice young option, and I'm very surprised that he didn't stick around in his original organization.
Oh, he's 26. I always feel like he's older. I feel like he's been around forever.
It's because like a name like that sounds like they've been around a while, right?
Yeah.
Like because he was very slowly built up in the Nashville organization.
Yeah.
And then they got Askarov, and they were like, "Well, we don't need you, Connor."
Yeah.
And he's
He's
just like,
only
"No,
been
no more real need for a guy like Ingram." But
only 30
Ingram,
career
Ingram,
games.
like coming off of the heels of Pekka Rinne, like Ingram Askarov, it would have been a hell of a tandem.
Oh yeah. I mean, because I think UC Staros is going to get moved.
And UC,
Um,
yeah, and
yeah.
we'll go there next. Why don't
Yeah.
we? Talking about St. Louis and Nashville, we'll go to Smashville. Barry Trotz, big was probably their biggest acquisition.
Yeah. Maybe. I think that. I mean, we'll say yeah. Yeah.
We'll
I'll
say
agree to
yeah
that.
because like Barry Trotz knows this organization more than anybody
Yeah.
because he
I
was there from the beginning. He coached there for 20 freaking years.
yeah. I love Barry. I
Who doesn't?
when he got let go from the Islanders, which was I still don't understand that.
Yeah,
I was kind of hoping that the Hawks would give him a call. I thought he would be like he's one of those old school coaches that
that
I
still
feel
works.
that works. He adjusts as well to the game and with his defensive mind in this high offense era of hockey,
Yeah,
that's a
it's
huge
different.
asset. That's a huge asset to be able
It's
to
different.
yeah, to be able to implement a good defensive strategy and all that in an
Yeah,
era where the NHL wants 6+ goals every game. I mean, that's big. Boring hockey, but it's big.
and he because David Poyle had been there from the beginning,
Yes.
right? Now that you're finally getting a new era in the GM box, it's going to feel really weird
Yeah.
because it's just
And
because Barry came in and immediately he was like, okay, we're stripping it back. We're getting rid of our two big contracts with
the fact
like
he was able to move Johansson and
Johansson
not
and
give
Duchesne
and not
both
give
moving
up a
on.
lot for him
I
and
love
also
Joey.
only
I miss
yeah
Joey. Like I would have
4
if
million I guess they're still retaining.
because the only central attire I have is an old Joey Predators t-shirt
Okay.
from when I went a couple of years ago, and it's all worn out now. Like it's all faded, and it's like, man, I would have worn it if it wasn't so faded.
Yeah.
Um, that's how much I love Johansson
Yeah.
from his time here, from his time in Nashville. He was still pretty nice in Nashville. He just never turned into that guy that
And yeah, and
either of us needed.
I think the problem in Nashville with him was that I don't think he is a 1C type of guy.
No, good
And
middle
they
six
were
player.
yeah, they were trying to force him to be that guy and it wasn't going to work out. And I mean, we'll talk about him and I guess when we go to Colorado, but it's like that's the situation he needed. He needed those guys that it's like he's a great player and could be a player that you could market, but he's not going to be the guy. He needs to be
No,
that
and
second guy and
Dutchy
rule
isn't either.
right.
As
Yeah,
much as we love Matt Duchene, like he's not that kind of player.
exactly. They had one good season. Everybody, it was crazy in Nashville going into last year. We're like, oh, is Nashville can win this division? But it's like they needed to have. I mean, the reason they looked so good is because every single player had career years.
Yes,
Every
yes.
single one.
I'm
And
excited for a lot of the youth that they have. Luke Evangelista is going to look great. I'm still surprised they didn't really move on from Philip yet, because Forsberg was a trade chip.
yeah, and the problem with him is like they signed him to that extension, and he's got a big cap hit. And with the
Buying into a
caps,
guy like Cody Glass too. Finally, someone gives Cody Glass a little bit of a
yeah,
chance.
yeah. What former top 6 pick? I think it was in Vegas. Top
Yes,
top
they
10 at
went with
least.
Glass over someone else that ended up way better.
Um, but yeah,
I can't remember
he's
exactly who it was, but
I like him in that 2C role. That's a good spot for him, I think.
they bring in a guy like Dennis Gurianov. They picked Joachim Kemmel this past draft. Who knows if he gets playing time? I'm just looking at their forwards, and it's just like because they still have all these like from camp.
Yeah, yeah.
So that the forward list is crazy. Parsonen's in for a big year. They bring in veterans like Ryan O'Reilly and Gus Nyquist. Love me some Gus.
I love Gus Nyquist. I feel like that dude just knows how to like sneak his way into playoffs. I
He
like he's
he
like
is super fast, brilliant penalty killer, knows how to score. He's a great all-around presence on that wing. Ryan O'Reilly being a good 2C replacement as well. But he also, like being an older guy, he's probably actually gonna get that 1C role.
I think so. I think that at least to start. This is another one of those teams though that I don't know if there's really like a first line, second line type of thing.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's just who you're feeling in the moment.
because you have
But
Tommy Novak, you have Parsonen. I'm big on Parsonen.
yeah,
Um, Kiefer Sherwood's a good depth option. One of the local Columbus kid. Um, and Tomasino too. Tomasino, Trennan, like those all great kids.
yeah, they have a very they have a very solid six man unit. It's just a matter if they're gonna be able to put it together.
Yeah.
And how's it gonna go? I think Ryan
Fantasy
O'Reilly
of we'll see if he ends up making this roster.
and that
Um,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
it's weird because like again, being an Eastern show, we don't look as much into the Western teams,
Yeah,
but we love a couple of these teams and what they're able to do. And it's like Barry stripping it back and bringing in certain players is just different, right?
it was an interesting approach to not so it's not a rebuild, it's more of a retool.
It's
And
somewhere in between, I think,
yeah,
because he
it's a
really pushed it back.
he's doing a good job with it too because he's not setting up expectations of we're gonna compete, we're gonna win, but he's also not saying we're gonna be bad.
We'll see.
We're in for the long haul. Yeah,
It's very much a we'll see.
he's riding the fence very well, and I think he's setting expectations really good. This team in theory didn't lose a lot, and what they lost, I feel like they got equal replacements to come back in.
They shed enough cap space to bring
Yeah,
in
what they
like
needed.
yeah.
And they floated on that wild card spot line last year, and I think they're going to be the same spot right there. I think
I
it's
think
going
they'll
to
be
be
right outside of it.
yeah,
Their defense, you bring in Tyson Berry, you bring in Luke Shen, two really nice, polar opposite defensemen that are going to be big to
yeah.
mentor some of the younger kids. Ryan McDonough's still there. Roman Yossi obviously is your captain, and he is
So good,
probably the most stout, like two-way defender in the league.
man. He is a beast. It's like Roman Yossi, Victor Hedman, like God, those two defensemen are like the
Handsome
dying
guys too.
breed. Yeah, they're the dying breed of like defensive defensemen. I feel
Handsome guys
Roman,
too. I mean, they're Swedes.
yeah, come on, yeah,
Swedish.
and Switzerland. Um,
Oh, he
Yeah,
is a Swiss guy.
yeah,
That's
Yossi
right.
Swiss. But yeah, and it's like Yossi, he could stop you on the back end and then go and put almost 100 points on you
Put up a
on the other
96
side.
point year
It's
for
God, it is insane. And it's like you can't like their defense is always going to be good and looks really good this year too.
Dante
And
Fabro and Alex Carrier are going to be two big young guys back there.
McDonough is still a good piece back there. I know he's
Going to
getting
be
on
interesting
the
to see if Jeremy Lauzon does anything with him this year.
yeah.
And then there's one name that I'm just staring at who I really hope. I don't know if he's ready. I don't know if he's ready, but I want to see this kid in the show. Luke Prokop.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it.
He's remember all the pride stuff that's going around. He's the first openly.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
he's the first one
Yeah,
that came
okay.
out.
Yeah, he's a
I
man,
know
he's
he's still a
big.
prospect. He's a big boy.
He's 21, so
on-
he's got to be playing in Milwaukee then.
I was gonna say he could probably make Milwaukee this year, and
Yeah,
maybe get a
so
call up if they need it. But I really like. I know they're taking their time with a guy like Prokop. I want to see him
yeah,
just for the, with everything that went on with the Pride stuff, Pride jerseys, Pride nights, everything getting like
yeah.
kind of shoved aside instead of being able to be openly celebrated. That's gotta hurt for a guy like him.
Yeah, it's tough. It's just a weird situation, and I always go back saying the NHL doesn't know how to handle the PR,
No, they
and
never do.
They're the worst marketing team of the big four, if the major four, if you even want to call them a major four anymore. But it's like you have something that's just so it's put on a tee for you to do the right thing,
Yeah.
and you still swing and miss. Like, come on.
I want to see him, you know, prove people wrong in both the hockey aspect and the representation aspect.
Yeah, and I hope he gets a shot and just to kind of even if it's just even kind of show like this stuff doesn't matter. It's about what I do on the ice kind of thing.
Yes.
Like,
Well, having those nights too to celebrate those,
yeah.
like making sure that everybody, you want to build your sport, you want to build your fandom, right?
Yeah.
Then include these people.
The
Make
good
them
thing,
feel welcome.
yeah. I don't know if it's league wide still, and I'm not sure if you know about Columbus or all that, but I know the Hawks are still doing those nights.
We're still
They
going to do
just,
nights.
yeah, they just can't. It's just the jerseys that they
Yeah, the
can't do.
league
But
wide thing is they're not doing jerseys and
yeah,
warm-ups. The nights are still going to be celebrated.
yeah, the Hawks are still doing they're still making the jerseys and having the players sign them, and they're auctioning those off.
It's
Just
very
that,
itchy thinking about it
yeah,
from a Columbus perspective after we got the main guy that started all of this,
yeah,
getting
yeah,
Provorov.
yeah.
But
It's
anyway, we went off on a big tangent. Back in Nashville, the quick and net their I like their depth chart, their overall depth chart, because it's UC Saros. He is your starter. I believe they're still going to run it back with Lankinen.
Yeah, Kevin Lankinen
You
to
would
me.
know,
They're two.
you would know Lanky pretty well.
It's another guy. I'm very upset it's gone. And then I'm even more upset that they have Askarov in their system because that's who I wanted in
Askarov
this
is going to be
draft.
so good. This kid is going to
Literally
be
one pick away from getting him in the draft. I'm like, if he's there, we grab him. If he's there, we grab him. And literally Nashville comes up and grabs him. God, I wanted him so bad.
I'm so excited for this kid. And then, to mentor him in Milwaukee, they bring in a guy like Troy Grosnick, who's like, fine.
Yeah, he's a journeyman. I think he's a career AHLer. He'll be break in case of an emergency type of player.
Yeah.
But
I hope Askarov gets some time with the big boys this year.
I think he will. I think he's next man up given if something happens. And especially I still think for some strange reason they're gonna move on from UC Saros. I think
knowing that Askarov is your guy,
it makes it easier. It definitely makes it easier, but I think UC Saros is a top 5 goalie, maybe even top 3 right now in this league.
I still think running when he's like 100% ready, you run UC Askarov.
Yes.
You run Saros Askarov as your tandem.
Yeah.
When he's ready.
Yeah, you flip Saros and you bring in some big pieces. You're gonna get a nice haul for him, whoever you move him to.
Yeah, but you still also, like you put your stock into Saros. So
100%. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, 2 years left of him under contract. He's a UFA at the end of the 2025 season. So
Okay. So that's
you got
value.
You got a little bit of time. So it's like if you want to move on from him this year, you can get a lot more than if you move on from next year. But again, I don't know why you wouldn't keep Saros there and use him as a mentor type player because
It's value.
yeah, exactly.
Going to St. Louis, who I always forget.
Oh God.
I don't know why they're so forgettable. Like, it's weird. They win the cup in 2019. They win their first cup ever.
First cup ever. First team to be in last place going into the new year in January to come back
And
and
ever
win
since
the cup.
then, kind of nothing.
And I love it. I absolutely love it.
I know you do. It's like, okay. So it's like the weird thing, like, maybe this is just an Eastern Conference kind of thing. Every time we talk about a team like the Central or a division like the Central, I always forget a team like St. Louis.
Yeah.
And I always like when we're talking about the Pacific, it's like trying to round out the 8 there. And it's like, oh yeah, they have this team.
Yeah.
Right. Like Winnipeg is another one in the Central. Then I'm like, oh yeah, they're there.
Yeah. They're very, I mean, the only reason Blackhawk fans know them so well is because once Detroit moved over to the Eastern Conference,
St. Louis became the big rival. Yeah.
St. Louis, the big rival. And it's like they have good pieces and all that, but it's just
they're wild card chasers this year.
Yeah, if that, I strongly believe, and that's not just me being like, forget the Blues kind of thing. Like I don't think that they've done enough to stay competitive to a point where they're like, you know what? Yes, wild card team, wild card position. It's like if if everything goes right in their direction,
Doug Armstrong didn't really do too much.
No.
Like you never hear from them.
The biggest thing that he did this year was try to trade one of his top 4 defensemen who went on
Krug
to
saying no.
And he rejected it. So now you have to deal with that. Deal with
the biggest thing they did was Kevin Hayes.
Yeah, which is hilarious that they ended up just trading or Philadelphia ended up just getting a draft pick for him after having a huge package originally go.
I mean, it's the two guys that you're looking at. Obviously, Braden Shen is your new captain.
Yes.
Which is nice. He's a good, second line guy. But the two names that you need to step up because you're paying these guys is Jordan Kyrou and Robert Thomas.
Yeah, matching $8.125 million deals, I believe.
Yes. And, you need I don't want to make the smooth joke yet. No. It's like I love Robert Thomas. He is a smooth player. He's fantastic.
They're those two guys. I mean, those are it's by far the highlight of their offensive unit is those two guys, and
then Booch.
Booch is another good player.
Love Pavel Buchnevich.
Yeah, he has had a weird journey himself a little bit.
They have Mr. Irrelevant in our fantasy draft. The very last pick that I made, Kasperi Kapanen.
I forgot
cheeks
he
clapping.
He was a waiver claim. He's another guy that I think had a lot of high ceiling expectations, and he hasn't put it together
ever.
Yeah.
As much as I love the guy, he's very fast. He can kill penalties. He can do what he's asked.
Exactly. Yeah. Just a good role player.
Love the guy. By the way, I did end up dropping him
already.
I dropped him already. And I picked up JJ Peterka.
Okay, that's probably better.
Yeah. I'm excited for a guy like Jake Neighbors. Gonna be a really
Yeah.
good kid when he's like, if he does like make it out of camp. And Toropchenko, I've got some hopes for Toropchenko. Jake Vrana, love the guy. Brandon
Yeah,
Saad, love the
I
guy.
hope, yeah, Sauter.
Can we talk about Sauter for a minute and just gush over him? Because
Oh
like,
God,
because we both had him
the
for
man
like,
child.
we're so intertwined with a lot of these guys: Seth Jones, Panarin, Saad.
Yeah, Sod, man. He was gearing up to be the next Hossa, man. Like
Yeah,
the playing style and all that, and just watching the two of them together when it was
yeah.
him, Sod, and or Sod, Hossa, and Taves. Oh God, that was such a good line.
Love me some Brandon Saad, and that's from playing in Chicago to coming here and lighting it up for an All-Star season, and then going right back to get
Yeah,
us bread. And
yeah, like I can't. That's I still that whole sequence of okay, here's Sod. No, we want Sod back, but here you can have
but you
Panarin.
can
Like,
have
go,
Panarin.
yeah, go ahead, take him. And then now St. Louis and New York have both those guys. So
I do love me some Braden Shen. He's going to be a perfect captain for those guys. And Oscar Sundquist coming back, good depth player for them.
yeah,
And the only Aussie in the league, which I'm very surprised. Okay, never mind. I forget that Jordan Spence was, you know, also like born around there.
yeah,
So it makes sense for the Kings to go, but still, like the Blues going with the only guy that is from Australia,
100%. Is Australian. You don't get the.
and you don't get the Nathan Walker treatment and all
They
in
should have
Melbourne
had like a PTO exempt for him. Like Blues, you still own him, but we're gonna let him play for LA for a game or
for a game,
like
just to like, yeah,
just to have it.
just
But
to have that, like that
yeah,
would have been great. And I do love Nathan Walker. He's such a fun story.
yeah, I
They
just
have stories.
yeah,
That's what
and
they have with their
he's
players. They
another
have
one
stories.
that it's just he needs that opportunity. Um, he just really
Uh,
hasn't.
yeah, no. Um, and who knows how any of them are going to put it together. Like, I really hope that Kyrou and Thomas can just show up, show out.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And I think they're going to be chasing. I like their defense. Their defense has holes, but at the same time, like Krug, and Pareko, like I'm surprised they didn't move on from Colton Pareko yet.
I was a little surprised too, and then I was when it seemed like he's going to be there for the at least the long haul for a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. I was also surprised he wasn't named captain. I kind of
Right.
felt like he was kind of gearing up as that guy,
Yeah.
homegrown type of thing. Um, yeah, he's a solid piece. Like I hate that I hate when they have solid pieces that I like because
Well, there's such a mushy middle team ever since the Cup
yeah,
that I'm looking at the depth chart for this. And who do you even talk about in terms of new talent? The only
nothing.
one, the
Yeah.
only one is Perunovic.
Yeah.
Like that's it. It's the only fresh blood that like is worth having a talk about. And it's like he's going to be fine when he's ready, but you're basically running it back. Pareko, Justin Falk. I do love me some Falker. Torrey Krug,
Bertuzzo.
Bortuzzo, yeah. Callie Rosen, Scandella. You got pieces. You got the same pieces.
Yeah, Nick Leddy. I mean, I miss Leddy too. I always feel bad for him having that bad break in the 2014 playoffs,
Yeah.
sending the Kings to the final. But he's a good defensive defenseman. I always laugh at them because they have all these older defensemen on their roster right now,
That's the
and
point.
every
That's the
single one
point.
of them has no movement clauses attached to them, so
They're
they can't even
so
do anything.
they're so old. And I mean, we talked about this with Washington and Pittsburgh too. Like they're old.
Yeah,
You
but the
don't know what
difference,
they're
yeah,
gonna do.
the difference with Pittsburgh and Washington is they're old, but they have guys that are
Are
proven and ready
good and
to
proven. Yeah.
go. Yes, we're St. Louis, they're old. They're good players, but they're not proven. And they're
Yeah.
kind of those guys that if they were on any other team, they would probably be the second pairing, maybe even the third pairing type of player. But now they have to play top pair minutes.
Exactly. In net, you got Binnington, you got Hofer, and Subban.
Binnington. I love that they signed him to that contract and they're stuck with him. Oh God.
This guy, he would be such a better goalie. He would be such a better goaltender if he didn't pull the shit he pulls.
He is such a mental case for no reason. And he thinks he's such a tough guy badass, like fake punching Carlson and teeing up the stick to slash.
It's
like,
the weird, like, I think Joel Hofer takes the job from him.
Oh God, yeah. And it's gonna make it even funnier when they have $6 million being your
because
backup
Husso
goalie.
already did last year, and then they 2 years ago, and then they moved on from Husso.
Hofer's gonna be good. Like I like Hofer, and it's another goalie, like it's a division rival with a good, solid young goalie.
This is funny. Like when you talk, obviously we talk about the Devils a lot because we love their divisional rival, but we love that team.
Yeah.
We have pieces that we love in that Devils team. It's very funny when you talk about rival teams, but you're like, but I love these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And yeah, it's like it sucks, but it's awesome because I get to watch them so many times a year and all that kind of stuff. But then it's
like,
also great.
I want them to do well, just not against us.
For every time that we see a player that we like on their team, it's like, okay, well, cool. They got a Jordan Binnington to cancel it out and bring it so there's not too much love there. Like we were saying during our Hawks preview episode that we're like, if there's one thing the Hawks do this year, it's to run Binnington out of the net and let him have another little meltdown in the middle of the ring, either in the United Center or the Enterprise Center, whatever it's called in St. Louis. Like that'd be a good season for us. As long as we see Binnington throwing his tantrum after we chase him out of the net, that's fine by me.
He needs to cool it. He won't, but he needs to if he wants to keep his freaking job. Because we know that Craig said it. Craig Berube said this, just play hockey, calm the fuck down.
How do you as a teammate defend that?
You don't.
It's one time, okay, bad night, bad day, whatever. But multiple times in a single season over multiple seasons.
This is just what he does. And it's
if I'm St. Louis, I'm on that bench, and he pulls at him, it's like, dude, you want to take a run at him next game? Go for it. We're not gonna stop you. But
don't fight him because that's what he wants.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even though Fleury, I wanted to see it.
Oh God. I love that mic'd up moment. That's God. Because Fleury, it's saying someone Fleury's trying to get in there because Fleury is such a good guy, and God, come on, they love it. They'll love it. Let's go.
I wanted to see Fleury do it.
And Fleury would do it with a smile on his face.
Oh, absolutely. We're gonna pause for about 2 seconds. How you doing? How's your Bears doing at this point?
Don't ask me about that, okay?
Don't ask you about
Don't
the
even dare.
About Da Bears, no?
No, let me tell you something. No, let me not tell you something. I'll go on a rant.
I mean, we know that we just passed another week. We're going into another week of football, and I'm running off the heels of a really tense Monday night game, and it's just like
Super Bowl revenge, eh?
Oh yeah, big time. Oh man, we're back with another big week of football, and DraftKings is keeping us all in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers, all you got to do is bet $5 and you get $200 instantly in bonus bets. All you got to do is sign up, and you got to use our promo code. That's the big thing. Use our promo code. It's a big thing for us, especially this month. You just throw down the 5 on any of the week's matchups, and you'll walk away with a big payday right away. $200, nothing to sniff at, right?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? It's big in gambling.
Especially, yeah, exactly.
Especially the way I bet.
With the way, yeah. And again, new customers, all you got to do is sign up with our promo code. That's THPN, and everybody can get in on some fun stuff this September. All customers take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this month of September.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff from our
Yeah.
friends at DraftKings. So all you got to do, just enjoy some football. Put a bet down. Football's more fun when you're in on the action. So download the app now and sign up with the code THPN. New customers can bet just $5 to get $200 instantly in bonus bets, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with code THPN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, licensed partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles in Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Issuance, eligibility, and deposit restrictions apply. Thanks, everybody. Okay, going from one half to the other. All right, we're going up all the way, the northernmost. We're going to the Peg, going to Winnipeg.
The coldest team in the division.
I love those new, the 1948.
Oh, really?
jerseys. I love those.
Yeah,
It's such a cool concept.
I think they needed to do a different logo on it. I think that's what's that for me. Yeah, that's what for me is just I don't know the modern logo on it. Just I don't know. That's the one thing that I'm like, I don't know about it.
I love it. It's so cool. It's really cool concept to we're gonna pay homage to these guys.
Yeah.
Cheval Dayoff, the biggest thing he did was shed.
Yeah.
He trades Pierre-Luc Dubois. He buys out Blake Wheeler. I'm surprised he didn't move on from Scheif.
Yeah, that was another one I was very surprised on. I think they're just kind of waiting because of his cap hit. I think a lot of teams weren't sure what they were going to do or where they were going to be at come start of the season. So any team that would benefit from having him is already up against that cap ceiling. So they were probably going to be a trade deadline move. And the same thing with Bucky Hellebuck. I think that it's going to be one of those things where
is interesting.
They're trying to keep those. I think they're trying to convince those guys to stay, but I think that they're just buying their time before there's a market. They know the market is for availability for them.
Well, you get Gabe Velarde in the deal for PLD to take his spot.
They did great on that trade.
Yeah,
they did very good.
You also bring in a guy like Nino Niederreiter. I love me some Nino.
Yeah, he's another great player.
Adam Lowry's your new captain, which is actually a pretty decent pick. I like that.
Yeah.
You still have Connor and Scheif, and I love me some Kyle Connor, but Mark Scheifele still being there.
Yeah,
knowing
it's just
that the locker room is the problem, and it's like Scheif was a big part of that with Wheels.
Yeah, they just had to rip the Band-Aid off and go all out. But I don't know. I think there's still a playoff team with this roster, I think. And I think that's the whole reasoning. That Blake Wheeler it was known that he was gone and all that. And
older, expendable, even though he's still okay.
Yeah. Scheifele is a little bit better. He had an off season. I mean, only 68 points in 81 games, but still, it's a head scratcher. I don't know exactly
because it's a culture thing, right? It's like what kind of the whole reason why Patty got traded, the whole reason why Dubois wanted out. It all comes back to both of these guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if anything else, it's like, what, we don't know for sure, but it has to be something along those lines, right?
Oh yeah, it's been discussed that like there was a cancer in the locker room. It's the reason why Blake Wheeler got stripped of his C. Um, and it's like if you're gonna go, you can't go 50%. You got to go 100%.
And they
Yeah,
went 50.
and they went 50. And we'll just have to see.
They have good depth at forward as well. Like, they still have Mason Appleton. Nick Ehlers, premier, like, broke the hell out. I love this guy.
Yes, as long as he's healthy. I mean, he only played 45 games last season, and it definitely showed that they were missing him for sure.
They also brought in Iafallo and Kapari with the PLD
Yes.
deal.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like, that's a weird haul to get 3 guys for one. Like, 3 NHL level guys for one.
And wasn't a couple draft picks in that too. Like, that's like it's
it's wild. We'll talk about Mini next.
Yeah.
Brad Lambert's waiting in the wings. Chaz Lucius probably going to get his chance. Nemesnikov is a great depth pick, veteran, been around a while, and a good name to have.
Yeah.
Very, very excited to see what we'll probably see. I think he's out to start the year, but Cole Perfetti. I really want to see what Cole Perfetti can do.
Yeah, I really like this kid. Former top 10 draft pick. It's a matter of not if, it's a matter of when this kid breaks out. And hopefully this is the time. I think he's going to be penciled into that top 6 once he's healthy. If he's whenever his season's going to start. Yeah, he is going to be a problem, I think.
And their defense, I don't know where to start with their defense, because it's another one like St. Louis where it's just names, but they're not like names that really stick out at you.
It's very much like, okay, there's our defenseman.
These guys
do with that as you will.
Yeah, because they bring in Kyle Capobianco from Arizona. Okay, fine. Dylan DeMello, I like. Brendan Dillon is fine. I like Brendan Dillon. Ville Heinola is a big question mark to me.
Yeah. 22-year-old, injured. I think he's injured right now.
Yeah.
He's got a high ceiling, I guess. I mean, there's a lot of potential there. And again, with the defensive prospects, you don't want to rush them too much. So
the problem with prospects like this too is, especially from a fan perspective, if you're excited about a guy and you think he's ready and he sounds like he should be ready at this point,
you got to roll with him.
You got to play him.
Yeah.
When are we going to see this kid?
Yeah. That's a problem too. Like, making it just for me to like put in terms of like how to explain it for anybody. Like the Blackhawks situation when they had Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook, you had these guys that were established that can play, but then it's the rest of our development suffered because you wouldn't trust these young kids to come in and get that. Exactly. And that's kind of like what this situation here is. It's like they got older guys, they got proven guys that can play, but it's like, okay, well, at what point are you going to let the next generation come up? And
when you trust the vets too much, that's
exactly. Yes, 100%. And they're really not in a position to trust vets too much. Like, they have their top 4, but then after that, it's like, all right, well, what do we got? And
Morrissey and Pionk are great players.
Yeah.
Josh Morrissey.
Be very curious to see if he can top what he did last year.
If he can follow that up,
unbelievable season for him.
Amazing. And I do like Neil Pionk for the offense that he brings.
Oh yeah, 100%. And he's a healthy guy. He plays a lot of hockey.
Yeah. And Nate Schmid is Nate Schmid.
I forgot about him. I honestly forgot he's still playing.
Nate Schmid's Nate Schmid. He'll probably fill bottom 4. Like,
oh yeah, easily.
If he's not bottom pair, he can step up into the second pair and be fine.
He'll probably play exclusively that third pair. If somebody goes down, he'll jump up to that second pair. But I mean, they will do their best to keep him at that bottom three or bottom two.
Where are we at with the Logan Stanley experiment? Are we done?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, for this kid, man, I think this is one of those situations that a change of scenery is needed.
He's a big boy.
Yeah,
He's 6'7", 242.
yeah,
Like that's all he brings, though.
That's all he brings. I think he needs to send him out somewhere that needs a big defenseman and just give him a fresh start. There's no point. I mean, at this point, he's just collecting a paycheck, I feel like, from this team.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, does he play bottom pair minutes this year? What happens? Are we done?
Yeah,
I think we're
he's
done.
like that's. I think he's that seventh defenseman right now.
I think he is 7. Yeah,
and even then, I think he might get jumped a little bit in the rotation and all that. So
sucks because like you see a huge guy like this, right? Like you think we're probably gonna get near the next Chara just by size alone.
Right, jeez.
Right? Like, I see that forward wise. I see that in Detroit with Elmer.
Yeah.
Being 6'8", and you're like,
oh god.
Oh.
Yeah. Big
And you
boys.
bring, and you bring in a guy like Logan Stanley. You draft this kid. He's huge, and it's like, but he doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
he's big for nothing.
Big for nothing. 19 games played last year. Only saw about 13 minutes of total ice time when he did play. It's like, yeah, cut your losses at this point.
Such a mixed bag on defense. Even though, again, we like a lot of these players, but like, what do you do?
A lot, yeah. It's a situation with a lot of teams. It's like you like them because of who they were, and then now it's like, all right, well, you're getting on the wrong side of that age, that age line, and what do you got going on now?
What do you do? And in net, it's obviously still the Helly show for now.
Oh yeah,
it's Helly, and you bring back an old friend, Laurent Brossoit. Brossoit.
And then you got Colin Delia.
I do like Delia as a nice third option.
Yeah, he's a decent player. He was one of those guys that I'm like, he just needed a chance. He was in our system forever and just never. He was,
and then he goes to Vancouver, and then he gets screamed at by JT Miller.
Yeah, God, speaking of mental cases. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting what they do if they end up moving on from Bucky this year. They really don't have much in terms of goalie prospects or something in the system, so it's whatever they do, they're gonna have to make a move to bring somebody else in. And it's almost, you gotta wonder if they're gonna be one of those teams that if a goalie goes on waivers here in the next couple days, do they take a look at possibly grabbing somebody just to prepare for a potential trade?
Right. I don't know. Where do you think he goes? I would love to see him. Like, as much as I love Vanacek and Schmid in Jersey, Hellebuck in New Jersey.
New Jersey and Buffalo are two teams that I think if they really want to take that next level. New Jersey's so good, like they're a playoff team no matter what.
Yeah.
Buffalo is that on that thing, but it's like those are two teams that need to make a move, I think, in that to really like take it to the next level.
Like I said, I love VTech and I love Akira Schmid.
But Bucky in New Jersey would just be like, it's hard to bet against that team then.
and same with Buffalo, like having Connor Hellebuck right in front of Devin Levi.
Oh God. Yeah. And plus both of those teams, they got goalies that they could send back to Winnipeg that could help them. I mean,
like an old friend, Eric Comrie.
Exactly. There's situation. I mean, there's
it's
situations.
So weird because it's like you see these guys like Brossoit went to Vegas and now he's back, and Comrie intertwined.
In and out. The goalie carousel is so funny in the NHL.
It's weird when you have guys that just come in and out of the same franchise.
Exactly. Yeah, but
and
yeah,
like,
Winnipeg.
Really? All right.
Yeah, Winnipeg. I think they're a playoff team right now.
They're solid
it's just,
fourth. They're solid 4th.
I think. Yeah. Unless something goes crazy wrong, I can't see them moving too high, moving too low.
I think it depends on how the wild cards shake out.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, who knows if we'll get, 5 from one conference and 3 from the other.
Yeah, I think it's gonna set up like half and half. I think
You
it's
think
gonna
we'll
be
get
4-4.
4-4 this year?
I think so. I think it's gonna be 4-4. The Pacific, I just don't think is very good. And the Central, it's like they're in the same boat. It's like they have, like we said before when we started, the top half's really good, the bottom half's
Yep.
really bad, and it's just that middle is like okay.
It's just like, all right, meh. Let's go to 3. Let's go to the state of hockey. Let's go to Mini.
The Minnesota Mild. I mean the Wild. Sorry.
I love Minnesota. I love these guys. Expansion
Oh,
brethren.
Minnesota. It's been one of those stories. Like
Finally
I was
fun. And it's,
I was expecting so many like this to be a rough period for low matches buying out Parise and Suter.
Garrett's
And they're
doing
making it
fine.
work. And
Garrett's doing fine.
yeah, they're making it work.
But it is still like those buyouts are really shaky in terms of what you can do, because I know what he just did with signing. You signed Zook to a 4-year deal.
Yep.
That's fine. Love Matt Zuccarello. He works so well with Kirill and Hartsey for that matter. I love, we both love some Ryan Hartman.
Oh yeah.
Zook gets his deal. And then Marcus gets a 4-year deal.
Yeah, 4x4.
As much as I love Marcus Foligno, that's kind of like, do you really want to do that one next?
He's gonna be 36 when this contract's up. I mean, it's
Like,
crazy
is
to
that-
think. It's crazy to think being 32 myself and being like, oh, 32 is the end of these people's career and like all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh god, this guy's 32 and he's on
No,
the
yeah,
downfall.
like I'm
but it's
25 and I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
yeah,
When I see guys
exactly.
like Austin flying around.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, 32 years old, you're signing for $4 million over 4 years. And you got to assume he's got a no movement clause or
When
some
you're
sort
an
of trade
athlete
there.
like this, it's also different because your
Yeah,
timeline is different.
exactly. And
Um,
then the Hartman too signs a 3-year, $4 million deal.
oh, did that get official?
It's according to Cap Friendly, it is. Yeah.
According to okay, so they just haven't announced it yet. So I guess
Yes,
we're
so
breaking the 3-year deal for Ryan Hartman. I like it.
3x4.
It's
So
fine, but like again, you're dealing with the buyout still.
that's a big jump. Yeah, they got
When
to get
is-
through next year. Next year is the last year where it's at just under 15 million in dead space, and then it goes down to just under 2 million for 4 years.
Kirill and his band of merry men. I love a lot of these guys. Matt Boldy is in for a big year. Connor Dewar could be in for a big. Both Dews, Connor Dewar and Brandon Duane.
Yeah, I mean they got some great pieces. Like Boldy
Love
coming
me
out of
some Jeek.
nowhere.
Love me
Oh,
some Jeek.
man.
Joel Eriksson Ek is a fantastic winger. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, he's listed as a center, but like he plays more wing, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Marcus,
I
I
mean, right
love.
now,
Freddie Gaudreau came out of nowhere last year to be like, hey, I'm
yeah,
here
let's
too.
go. Yeah,
And I
I mean,
love
it helped the other Goudreau kind of drop the ball. So,
yeah,
sorry,
thanks for that.
sorry.
The
I'm a
fact
little
that
bitter.
he's still in it.
I'm a little bitter. I had him in fantasy last year, and he really
Oh,
did not help me. So I'm a little bitter.
well, none of us helped. And that's a whole other story for a whole other day. But like you bring back a guy like Marcus Johansson. I like that pickup. Good veteran
Yeah.
guy that's been around this team for a while. Jujhar Khaira, I like that pickup, even though he's getting sent to Iowa.
Yeah,
Why? He's
he's a depth guy.
I know he's a depth guy, but like he could was it just a bad preseason? What happened?
He's kind of lost his game a little bit. I mean, he was even kind of forgotten in the Hawks with the Hawks last year. So it's like I think he just needs that time
Well, a
in
lot of
Iowa
guys
to
were
kind of
forgotten in Chicago last year.
right. But with the Hawks being the team they were, losing yourself in that, I mean, that's saying a lot when you weren't playing. So I think him going to Iowa to get some minutes and
Yeah.
kind of really discover his game. The thing that hurt him, I think, was the fact that they brought in Patrick Maroon.
Yes, that's a big
and
one.
that kind of
That's
filled that
definitely a big one.
role.
He's the big rig.
Yeah, that kind of filled that role that Kara would have been playing.
Yeah. Well, because Kara is also like okay, so he's He's about the same size.
A little bit
Uh,
taller.
Maroon's just got
Weighs-
more meat to him.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, and you get the big rig involved.
And you get playoff experience with Pat too. Like you got
Oh yeah,
a 3-time cup winner.
back to back to
Excuse me.
back.
Yeah. Because I
St.
keep
Louis
forgetting
Cup.
about this. He was the local kid on the St. Louis Cup.
Yeah, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't think he'll be in Iowa long. I think he'll definitely get called up, especially when that bottom six needs a guy.
The
Um,
three kids, because I know Nick Patan is a depth option. Lucchini's a depth option. They're fine. But the three kids that we really need to start seeing: Lee Mogren, Sammy Walker, Marco. We need Marco
Yeah.
Rossi.
yes,
Like,
and yeah, and these guys are they're going to have to play because, especially with these extensions they just signed, and we talked about it, they're playing at a disadvantage. Their cap is $15 million lower than the rest of the NHL.
right.
You're going to need these younger guys on entry level deals to step up and fill those spots that you're going to be losing.
We have friends, or I have friends on Discord that are, we're such big Rossi guys.
Yeah.
Such big Rossi people. We need to see Marco.
Yeah, Cap Friendly has him in as a 3C right now. So that'll be
Woo.
that'll be cool. He's tiny, man. 5'9". Jeez.
Hey, Johnny Gaudreau's 5'9".
I know. Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
Isn't
never in a million
Marchand 5'9"?
years.
Like, for
Marchand's like
for
5'9",
Marshy being that
5'10".
small, he plays a
Yeah.
huge game.
Yeah, and yeah, you got the fight in them. I mean, they gotta take it to another level, so that's good.
Mini is known more as a defensive team,
Yes.
and I love their defense core.
Yes. Their
Kalen
defense is-
Addison getting the buy-in, love it, because you know that you're going to start shaping around Kalen Addison and Brock Faber,
Yes. Yeah.
especially if Faber makes it out of camp. Which I don't know.
Cap Friendly's got him on that top pair right now. I don't know
do
what.
they?
Yeah. So, and I think Cap Friendly
Ooh.
goes based off what they've seen in preseason and all that. So, I mean, it's a good
I mean,
indication
they're smart
that
guys.
yeah. I mean,
Jonas
there's
Brodin, forever amazing.
yep.
Love Jonas Brodin. Golly, love me some Alex Goligoski. Also
He's
another good veteran presence there.
38 years old. He's definitely on his way out. He's going to be a good job to mentor these younger guys.
Mermis is going to be a tweener, I think, this year. They brought in John Merrill. You got another year of Jake Middleton. Love that Middleton pickup.
Yes, that's a good one.
And then the always underrated perfect captain for this team. And you always forget he's the captain just because he's so quiet. Jared Spurgeon.
Yeah, he
loves Spurge. God, this guy's game.
He just went down though too. I think he's gonna be out for the first few weeks of the season. So that's gonna hurt.
Well, that brings more opportunity for a Kalen, for a Faber.
Exactly. And this is a team that they're gonna be there come playoff time. So now's the time to early on in the season when the race isn't heating up and all that to give these guys their shot.
Yeah.
And they're gonna have to see who's gonna fill in for Dumba. As we talked about to Arizona.
Losing Dumba, yeah.
So they need it's a perfect time for these young kids. No Dumba, no Spurgeon. I mean, they're gonna have it's a time to step
what's
up.
Dumba's handedness off the top of your head? If you
I think he was a lefty.
Is he left? Okay, so Middleton can fill in for Dumba fine. I think.
Yeah, it's open up a possibility. Dumba, no, sorry, right D.
Is he right?
50-50 shot.
Okay. Well then that again, Faber and Addison. Those are your two big guys that you need.
Yeah.
Especially with Spurge out. So it's a huge showing for those guys.
Great opportunity.
Great opportunity. And in net. Oh, in net for the Minnesota Wild. Is this not one of the most likable goalie pipelines?
Oh yeah. It's got to be the
Because
friendliest tandem in the game in the league.
Philip Gustafson showed out huge last year out of
Yeah.
nowhere.
That was a big surprise.
And I
And
think he can do it. I think he can follow it up.
I think he can too. But I mean, that is the biggest storyline for the Minnesota, I think, is going in is can they get the same goaltending? I mean, he put up 22 wins, 931 save percentage. His goals against was like 2.10. So it's like he had a very solid year. And it's really easy to do that when you know you have a guarantee behind you, a very reliable guarantee that to step up when you're struggling.
The Flower.
The Flower. God.
He's got to be like the most likable personality in the
Oh,
whole
100
league.
yeah,
Like
100%.
the whole league.
I don't think I've ever heard a bad thing said about Marc-Andre.
No, Marc-Andre Fleury, obviously he's a three-time with the appearance in Vegas still. Like
Yeah.
still plenty of finals. This guy's been around forever. He's part of the legendary 2003 draft class.
Oh,
Marc-Andre Fleury, we know who he is. And knowing that he is now that he's in mini, which is a very strange thing to think about.
It's very strange, but he fits very well.
After being in, Pittsburgh and Vegas for as long as he was, the way things ended in Vegas going, and no offense to him coming to Chicago.
No, yeah. It was
But
ridiculous.
the way that happened sucked.
It was terrible. Like
Awful.
There's a reason why people were like, is he actually going to play for the Hawks or is he just going to retire? Right. Because he was literally told by the owner, we're not going to trade you.
Right. You're going to stay and you're going to retire.
He finds out
on
via
Twitter.
Social media. Yeah. Like that.
It's awful.
You don't do that to a legend like that. Like
no.
He is the type of player that.
Especially for just a prospect that you didn't even keep for essentially just the cap dump.
We got Marc-Andre for nothing. We literally got him for nothing.
Yeah. I don't even think you can remember because I can't remember the guy's name.
I do. I can picture it. I just can't
exactly.
Remember. Yeah. He's not even, I don't even think he's in the NHL. I think he's he's overseas now.
Yeah. It's like you don't even know. But Flower, you know who he is. He won one Vezina. He should have won more.
Oh, 100%.
Should have at least 3 Vezinas to his name.
He got traded for nothing when he was a Vezina, defending Vezina.
So dumb. So dumb. But he comes to Minnesota and he's able to call, obviously, as much as that stinks, he's able to let that bad blood aside and settle in. And now he's able to say, okay, yes, I'm older. I'm, about 37, 38.
Yeah.
This is probably my last ride.
I think this is his last season. I think this is his farewell tour.
That stinks, man.
Yeah.
This guy's just he's been around forever. And, it's weird because, we're going into this season without guys like Bergeron and Krejci, too.
Yeah, it's a new era.
Very strange.
People I grew up watching are all retiring now. It's a
very,
very strange time, but it's also, hey, it's at least they're getting replaced by some very great up and coming talent. So
because up in the minors, up in Iowa, and this kid looks dynamite. Jesper Wallstedt, we'll see what he can do. If Mark gets hurt, you're calling up Jesper.
100%. Yeah.
You're calling up Jesper.
He is going to get at least a handful of games. It's going to be the testing the waters.
Yes.
Let's see where this kid's at. Is he ready to make that jump next year? Do we need to look at another option? Does he need a little bit more time to develop? Let's see it. And it's going to be very, very cool to see when he finally gets that first real action up in the NHL.
Oh yeah. Going all the way back down south and another shade of green, we're going to Dallas.
Oh man, this team.
Because you have Dallas third and I have Mini third.
Oh, I got Dallas winning the division.
Oh, you had Dallas winning. That's right. You had
Yeah.
Colorado second.
Yeah. they they're one of those teams where it's like you don't like you kind of forget how good they are because
Yes.
they're that non-traditional market. And then you get into the season and then they're fighting for that top spot, fighting for going to the conference finals and all that, and you're like, oh
Yes.
crap, holy crap.
Where did they come from? It's like
Yeah.
they've been here because they've been
I've-
competitive for at least 5 years.
They have probably one of the best draft classes in recent memory with that 2017 draft team or
Oh,
draft class with
yes.
Jason Robertson,
Jason and Miro as your two
Miro,
headliners out of that.
and Jake Ottinger, same draft.
And Jake. Oh, Jake.
Yeah.
I wanted him in my fantasy team and I get snagged from me. So their forwards are headlined by probably one of the better first lines in the whole league,
Oh yeah.
where you're going to have Jason, you're going to have probably Rope
Yep.
up there with him, and the ageless wonder,
Pavelski,
Joe Pavelski, this dude.
the tip master.
I love him so much. Like, he's another one of those guys that you just can't help but enjoy.
He needs a cup, man.
He needs it. Yeah, he absolutely does. Is this Wyatt Johnston was in the rookie class last year, so it'll be interesting to see how he follows up this year.
The highlight of his season last year was that unbelievable backhand snipe he had. Like, God, 20 years old and he's already having the confidence to go out there and make moves like that. I mean, he is going to be a problem, I think, for years to come.
Wyatt's going to play probably with Jamie Benn.
Yeah.
And
put a little bit of resurgent.
Jamie, having been their captain for as long as he has, Jamie and Tyler's contracts are cumbersome as hell.
Yes.
Their contracts are very, very cumbersome, but they make it work.
Yeah, he definitely played for his worth last year. Definitely had a comeback season.
Yeah, because the last two, he absolutely did not.
I mean, it went to him and Sagan getting called out by the owner to step up to. I mean, he
fucking horse
points,
spit, right?
Yeah, 78 points in 82 games for him last year. I mean, he really found. I don't know what he did differently or what his change in the season was, but hopefully he made note of it and he's coming into the season the same way.
And you bring in Dutchy, and Dutchy can play center. Dutchy can play wing.
It's good depth for him. I mean, he'll be a very solid piece of that third line. I think he'll probably be.
You think he'll be third?
Line.
Okay.
I think he'll be third, and he'll float to the second line when needed.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be more of a top power play unit type of guy, like special teams.
So then, do you think Logan Stankoven gets that third spot on the second line? You think Stanky makes it?
Dadonov, maybe.
Daddy, maybe. Yeah, Dadonov. Yeah,
I think he will get there. I think besides
that would be fun though with Dutchy and Sagan, and Marchment.
Yeah, that's
a very fun third line.
And I think this is gonna be one of those things. I think that top line is set. I think that second line, 2/3 of it is set, and then I think everything else is just kind of plug and play, see what works, and then you just run with a hot hand.
Right, because you have Ty Dellandrea, who's a great kid. You've got the always steady Roddick Foxa. Maverick Bourque is a good depth option. Heard good things about Blummel as well. It's just, you don't hear so much about their system. They brought in Craig Smith for depth, which is great. And Sam Steele.
Sam Steele's a guy that I think it's one of those, he's very determined to prove it. I think I had a lot of high expectations for him coming into his career too, and he just hasn't quite lived up to it.
And Craig, I like bringing in Craig Smith.
Oh yeah. They made some very solid moves.
I mean,
to fill this team.
Nil won GM of the year.
Yeah. I mean, and you look at this roster, it's very solid up and down. The top 9 is one of those that you can make a case could be the top line minutes each night. It's
And-
like you really a steady attack from majority of this lineup.
Pete DeBoer is, he always lights it up his first year. But then every other year that you have him, and you only have him for a couple of years at a time,
Yeah.
we'll see. But I still I think the players that he has will be able to do it, not despite him, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to say?
100%.
Their defense, I do love their defense with headlined by Miro, and you have Nils Lundqvist and friggin' I love me some Yanni Hakanpää. The return of Gavin Bayreuther.
Yeah. I mean,
as your depth guy.
Ryan
Seventh,
Suter's still, I mean,
Suter being able to turn back the clock last year was nice.
that was very nice. I don't think it's going to be consistent.
He's not following it up, no.
No, but he is definitely a guy when needed. He can eat up some minutes for you and play in critical situations.
And I love another one of like a Jared Spurgeon, Essa Lindell. This guy is just steady defense. He can chip in on offense when you need him to, but you know what you're getting with Essa Lindell.
And he does it under the radar.
Same like Spurge, right?
Exactly.
And then the other, the two guys that I'm looking at here, I do like Yanni Hakanpää. He's got one of the best names in the league. Two guys that are very confusable and interchangeable, Hanley and Harley.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, take your pick.
Hanley being the veteran of the two, right? These guys are 10 years apart, so it's you can get confused just based off of name alone. But at the same time, they'll be fine with those two. I'm very high on Thomas Harley. I hope he gets a chance to get top 4 minutes this year.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a consistent top 4 for him, but he is definitely going to get that playing time for sure.
Well, it's hard because you have so many left shots.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about handedness with defensemen a lot.
Right.
Because we always say, right-handed shot defenseman is one of the most coveted things you can have.
They got 2.
They have 2. Everybody else is a left-handed shot.
Yeah. That's tough.
So you got a lot of guys that need to play their offside.
That's why, but you're luckily Miro is a defenseman that is very good on both the left and the right. So that's makes it like, God, he is just unbelievable. I can't get over that kid.
Going over those two guys, I have Mini second just because, you look at everything surrounding the skaters that they have so much better talent.
Yeah.
Skater-wise.
Right.
But then you look in net, and obviously we love Flower. And, Gustafsson is going to try to prove it. But when you look in net for Dallas, Otter and Wedgie. That was one of the best tandems.
Oh, yeah.
Ever last year. Well, maybe not ever.
Yeah, it was very good. But
so solid. Jake Ottinger, they're going to go as far as Jake will take them. And that's as far as at least a conference final.
Yeah, I mean, that was 2 years ago. I think it was his coming out party where he was just like, oh, yeah, I'm a goalie that you are going to need to worry about. Like, this team is so confident. They're able to focus on, they're able to take chances and all that because they know Otter can back him, bail them out.
It's so funny knowing that his nickname is Otter, which is one of the smallest, tiniest, cutest animals you could have.
Yeah.
And I love all the otter stuff too. But this kid is a mammoth. This kid is
Oh,
a
yeah.
giant. 6'6", 224.
Yeah.
It is a beast.
And that's not included in all the goalie equipment.
No. That's so good. Because, like, just wow. He's huge.
And then too
But then his personality is like
is
this.
is very quiet. And then they also have in the pipeline Matt Murray, not the Matt Murray, the other Matt Murray.
The better Matt Murray.
Yeah,
No,
who
I
he's
feel
only
so bad for Matt Murray.
yeah.
I love like despite the back-to-back Cups thing, whatever. Such a harsh
Oh yeah.
ending for, well, maybe not even an ending quite yet, but it's probably is.
Yeah, probably safe to say.
He's still up in the air, but like poor Matt. But like the young Matt Murray, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he is going to be, I think he's going to be one of those players that Dallas brings up. They build him up as a very solid backup option.
Yeah.
And when it comes time for him to need a contract, boom, here, all right, we'll take a couple hot prospects or a pick or two or something. And here's your goalie of the future.
Right. Well, careful with the goalie of the future thing.
That's true. Yeah, that is very true.
But
Name
yeah,
fake.
Otter is Otter, and he's going to be phenomenal. And then Scott Wedgwood is, in Arizona, obviously because it was Arizona, not great.
Not great, but he
Not
bailed them
great.
out a lot.
You go to Dallas, and he's very, very solid.
Yes. He's the type of player, it fits for him perfect because he didn't have to be a one guy. He's like, okay, I'm a backup. That's my role. Use me when you need me. Yeah.
Yep. And now we go to the cream of the crop in the division with the Colorado Avalanche.
Yes. This has been a team that I've kind of been going back and forth on.
Why do you say Dallas to win it?
I just think particularly like I don't know. I have a feeling like the top 9 for Dallas is very secure. Their defense is top tier. Their goaltending is phenomenal. Where I'm not convinced on Colorado's goaltending. Colorado's got great defensemen. And they are probably one of the best defensive units in the league. It's just the forward unit, while they do have some big pieces, I still think that there's a lot of question marks with the forwards, especially losing Landeskog for another year.
Let's get there.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's Nate and his band of merry men.
Yes, 100%.
It's a shame that you're missing Mikko. Mikko Rantanen is out for a little bit. I don't know how long.
I mean, he was the reason single-handedly willed that team to where they needed to be last year.
Yeah.
I mean, 55 goals, 50 points. Like it was, if it wasn't for Mikko, I don't know if that team is anywhere near what they were last year.
Mikko Rantanen is just, he's disgusting. And I love him.
Yeah, he is fantastic.
And Nate is obviously worth the money to be as petty as possible.
He did what he took a team friendly deal. He won his cup. Now say
let's
get paid a little bit.
To be petty by $500,000 until Austin signed his deal.
That's true. Yeah.
And then when Connor's up, it's just going to be like, well,
that's going to be scary. I'm very curious to see what he makes.
See how much. Yeah. I'm curious to see what Leon cashes in with, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Colorado. So they bring in my old buddy, Ryan Johansson. He's going to be a very solid 2-3.
Yes.
Probably third. With the departure of Newhook, I don't know. Like, it's interesting because Lehkonen plays really well with McKinnon, right?
Yes.
And without Moose to go on that other side, do you go with Val? And Val's interesting because he just kind of wants to forget his whole playoff
That weird
experience.
situation. Yeah.
The
Whatever.
hotel where he
Yeah.
just left.
I mean,
So
I think Jonathan Drouin's going to get a shot with
Drouin,
McKinnon.
and Tatar probably fill
Yeah.
those spots.
Yeah, Drouin.
Which,
It would be interesting to see if playing with McKinnon again, because they were junior teammates.
oh yeah,
If that's gonna help Drouin really find his game, because you want to talk about players with huge expectations for their career and not fulfilling to that
Joe Drew was a
expectation.
big one.
Drouin's a big one. Yeah, Miles, like, it's like, see, it's like they have good pieces. It's just, it's nothing that's like,
They paid Miles Wood for too long.
yeah, what is it? He's through 2029 making
6-year deal.
Yeah, and it's only 2.5 million, so it's not the worst in the
6
world.
years.
That term is what I don't get. I will say one piece that I really like that they picked up, Ross Colton.
Ross Colton's going to be great.
That is a big pickup for them.
That's a huge addition, and I hope that Logan O'Connor can fill that other top 6 spot really well on the right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like
you just gotta wait it out with Mikko up there.
Did they say how long he's out?
I don't know. I never saw anything, but Cogs too is back. Love me some Andrew Cogliano.
Man, I feel like he's been around forever too.
He has, and yet he's still awesome for a bottom 6 player. He's really solid, and he just fits that scheme really well. Jared Bednar just knows what works.
Yeah, it's just like this forward unit, man. It's like
and what works is stealing our boy from Dallas, Riley Tufte.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I wanted Tufte to do really, really well with Dallas, and they just didn't see it, I guess.
Just didn't work out. Yeah.
I hope he gets a chance in Colorado. I really do.
I think he will. I mean, he's going to have to at this point.
That's the hard part with talking about these, teams that consistently finish up top, is when you're starting to get prospects and get newer guys in, kind of can't get great names.
You kind of get lost in limbo, and it's like you have to really hope that what you have in your system already and the players you have around are going to be what you expect them to be for a long time, because it's going to be a little bit then before you're able to replenish that correctly.
Yes. The best part of Colorado, other than watching guys like Mac and Mikko flying around like that, and hopefully Joey can anchor some middle 6 portion of that. We'll see. God, I love this defense.
Oh, so good.
Kale and Devin. Kale and Devon Taves. All hail Kale.
God.
Kale McCarr, this guy. Oh, what do you say about this kid?
So good.
What do you say about him that hasn't been said?
I mean, Norris Trophy winner already.
Man.
Easily one of probably the top 5 defensemen in the league. And he's only 24.
He's only 24. Bo Byram. I'm wishing the best for this kid. I just want to see him play. But with his concussions now, concussions fuck you up.
Dude,
they really screw with you.
Yeah, they're not fun. This is a piece that I was really hoping the Hawks were going to take at 3 in 2019 when they decided to go with Kirby Dach instead. He is, if he was healthy and he was on any other team, he would probably be that top position, that franchise defenseman.
He's
playing behind Taves and behind Makar, and it's like it might be.
And that's
might be
still
good
an
for him,
amazing top 3. That's fantastic top 3.
And Girard, I mean, that top 4.
Oh, Sammy Girard, yeah.
God, it's just not fair.
It's not fair. It's not fair at all. Sam Girard is very small, but he makes up for it with the way he plays.
good offensive mind.
He's a forward on defense.
Yeah,
He's
but
only a buck 70.
And he's very smart. He's very smart where he knows when to pick his moments to jump up and be a part of the play and when to be defense.
And then their depth. I like Josh Manson. Manson a lot. Corey Schuneman brought in the new Hook deal. We'll see if he gets time. Curtis McDermott, I don't really see him getting that much time.
Oh, that's weird. They got him listed as a forward too on CAF-friendly.
And Brad Hunt as well. But my biggest thing
Captain
is
America.
JJ. Oh, JJ.
Oh,
There's
I love
something about
Johnson.
Jack Johnson, isn't there?
Another one that we are entwined with.
Yes. There's just something about Jack, which, like, he was fun here. Very fun here. Sadly, it didn't work out for you guys at all.
He came in and did exactly what he was brought in to do.
Sure.
Eat minutes and then get dealt to a team. I mean, that's exactly what it was.
There's just something about Bednar and JJ that works. There's something about when he's every time. This is stint number 3?
I think so. Yeah.
Like, this is stint number 3 in Colorado for Jack Johnson, and it just works every time. And I love that for him. I love that things are working for him on the ice. After all the bankruptcy stuff and everything going on with his parents, like
that was rough.
Such
I felt
an
so bad
awful
for that guy.
story. Awful story. And I'm just happy he's got a home in Colorado, like, that works.
I love that he played 83 games last year.
83. Love it. It's very cool because, like, when they won the cup in 22, that bottom pair was 2 former Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
It was JJ and it was Ryan Murray. It was very cool.
How do you do you feel
do
you like seeing that, former players?
I like seeing it, but at the same time it's like, God, could they have just made it work here?
Yeah.
You know, because Murray was made of glass, and I felt so bad for Ryan Murray, but, like, he couldn't help that.
Yeah.
He couldn't help how often he got hurt. This is a shame. And then JJ just, we didn't have the pieces around him to make it work until Z came in. And even then, everybody else was just like, eh.
Yeah. It's tough.
It is tough. And their goalies. It's running it back with Alexander Georgiev and Pavel Francouz. I love Pavel Francouz as a backup. Very, very solid.
Yeah.
And Georgiev, I like him. He put up 40 wins last year. Like, he's shown that he can be a starter. Can he just follow it up?
Yeah, and also with him too. It's like I don't know, for some reason with Colorado and their goaltending, it's always like they're good goaltenders and all that, but I'm also like, is it just the team that's in front of them too that's really being the big part of it? Yeah. But God forbid something happens to him where he gets hurt this season.
Well, you got to remember, this is a franchise that had Patrick Waugh forever.
Yeah. Patrick, yeah.
And Patrick was, like, arguably the best.
Top
but
two.
then again, you have Marty and you have so many others that you can pick and choose from.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just
with that argument.
Yeah, it's just I don't know if something happens with him or he gets hurt, it's just
well, Pavel's the one that's probably going to get hurt more. Yeah, Pavel's the one with the injury history.
That is very true.
But then you bring up Justus Annunen, and Annunen, I have high hopes for the kid.
He looked pretty good. He only played a couple games last year, and in one game he looked really good.
He's the biggest one of the bunch.
Yeah.
In terms of just overall size, because he's 6'4", 210. Because I'm looking at Arvid Holm, whoever this guy is. And he's
Or-
he's 6'5", but he's a $190.
Yeah, it's developing goaltenders is weird, man.
I love that Georgiev and Pavel are essentially the same size.
Yeah. Intertwined, yeah. I mean,
It's very funny. But like this again, this team won the cup back in 2022, so they're only 2 years removed from that. And not too much has changed, but the stuff that did change is pretty substantial.
yeah. Key
And
pieces.
yet, when you have a coach like Jared Bednar back there, when you have players that buy into Bedsy's system as much as everybody does, they can do it.
They can do it. And let me clear the air. When I take Dallas over them, it's not blown away. I think it's going to be a neck and neck battle.
Yeah.
I just, as good as this team is and all that, it's like, I feel like it's just the right pieces. I just don't know if it's going to mesh the way they want it. And I just think that Dallas has just got that pieces that have been playing together a little bit longer and all that. And it's just all, I feel like the perfect storm for Dallas. I think if Colorado wins this division, I'm not shocked.
No.
Not shocked at all.
I think it's theirs to lose.
Yeah. I think right now it's theirs to lose. I think Dallas is the only team that can really challenge them for that title. But it's like you can't bet against them, especially they've got a lot to prove after being bounced by Seattle in the first round last year.
Oh yeah.
Like they've got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, not a little, a big chip on their shoulder going into this. And I don't know, it's gonna be fun to watch.
It's gonna be great. We're so excited for the season. Jarom, I just want to thank you again, buddy, for coming on. Like, obviously, like it would have been great to have Jay here too.
Oh,
probably would have helped round out time because we ran long.
Yeah. This has been a lot of fun, man. I love talking hockey. So anytime you need you want a third mic or something to talk a little bit of hockey, let me know. I'm
especially
always
if we need a Western voice to chirp over the rookie race.
Yeah, sign me up, man.
Plug your stuff and let's get out of here.
Yeah, so social media at WCB Podcast, YouTube WCB Podcast, episodes every week. Yeah, looking forward. If you need some Bedard coverage, give us a follow.
YouTube, other audio platforms, pretty much everything, right?
Everything. Yep.
And then just Twitter.
Twitter,
really?
Instagram,
Twitter and IG. Okay.
Still have a Facebook because like I said, I am in my 30s, so I'm old. So yeah, but mostly Instagram. Try to do better with Twitter, but yeah, give us a follow.
And then obviously you keep up with us. We're JJ Jackets Pod on Twitter. You can follow me at Snake Gehringer on Twitter. You know how to find Jay too. We're on YouTube. We're wherever. Just find us, keep up with us, and let's gear up. Let's fire the cannon. Let's turn up some Chelsea dagger. Let's get this going. Let's go. Season begins soon. Hockey's back.
Let's go. Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at By J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.